40 days. It's a number that shows up everywhere, from the Bible, from Lent, which we're in right now. We're even talking about a blackout with Amazon for 40 days. And I got curious, why 40 days? Why not 30 days or 60 days or some other random number? But here we have it. Lent's 40 days. In Kundalini Yoga, they talk about 40 days is what's needed to rewire the subconscious. The Bible talks about the floods for 40 days and 40 nights. In Islam, 40 days is seen as a period of purification. And even in psychology, it talks about it takes around 40 days for real behavior to really take root. So I gotta believe this time frame is not a coincidence. I don't know if you're curious like me, but I needed to know what actually is happening in your mind and your body when you commit to something for 40 days. Like, what could actually shift for you, get you stuck out of something that you really want to change in your life if you committed to it for 40 days? And so that's what we're talking about, because I looked it up, found out more information, and I'm sharing that today. Welcome to the Hello Well with Danielle podcast, your weekly mental vacation from the daily grind for busy women who just need a moment to pause, breathe, and woosah, and find a little freedom while you're at it. I am your host, Danielle Washington. So why 40 days? I figured out it's not random. It's not this ideal that someone just came up with it, but I still wanted to know, why not 30 days? Why not 60 days? Some people say it represents the cycle of renewal. So 40 days is the cycle of renewal. Okay. Others were talking about it's the time that's needed to make deep shifts really take root. And then it kept coming up in different ancient teachings from all different types of religions that 40 days was associated with real transformation and purification happening. So it's not just a random number, but I'm like, okay, not a random number, but I still need to understand a little bit more how and why is it working out. And what I discovered is there's actually 3 distinct phases within the 40 days. There's the first 10 days, the middle 20 days, and the last 10 days. And I'm going to break down each of those phases down a little bit more so we can understand. So like the first 10 days, that's the hardest part. And that makes sense because that's the part where most people quit because they're like, this is different. I don't have time for this. Why am I doing this? Because the mind and the body are like, this isn't our normal routine. You're trying to add something new, and we didn't rubber stamp this with approval. Your body is still craving that old rhythm, whether it's stress, sugar, procrastination, or whatever you're trying to shift in your life. Your body is like, I didn't sign up for this. Your mind might have, but I did not choose to sign up for this. And this is when we start making excuses. That's when all the excuses that feel reasonable, like, this isn't just working out for me right now. Maybe another time. I just don't have time for this. It's not that big of a deal if I just skip one day. And that comes up quickly in that first 10 days. I can just skip one day and it's okay. I just miss a day. But it really matters, because if you think about it, I don't know if you read in your version of the Bible or whatever you're reading in other religions, I don't recall them saying in that 40 days and 40 nights of the flood, God said, we could just skip one day. One day, on the 36th day, we're going to skip the flood. No, it was 40 days and 40 nights consistently. And so I get those first 10 days are hard because that's when our nervous system's like, this isn't our normal routine. But when you can get to that middle 20, that's when the shift starts happening. That's when the resistance starts to fade. That's when you start kind of getting a little bit of a rhythm to it. But now here comes the boredom. The excitement has worn off. I'm bored of this. I don't really feel like doing this. That's when you start questioning, why am I doing this anyway? Is this really worth it? In that 20-day period, that next 20 day, that middle 20 days, you still aren't seeing the benefits. You might have gotten over the excitement. Your mind and your body are starting to adapt. They haven't fully gotten the rhythm, but they're starting to adapt. They're like, okay, this doesn't feel so new, but I'm still not sure if I'm doing why I want to do this. And this is a part where people also stop, not because it's hard, not because they can't do it. It's because they just aren't excited anymore. It's not new and it's not shiny. And then you have the last 10 days. And this is when it starts to become a part of you. This is the point when your body and your mind have started to adjust. You don't have to think about it. It's starting to become a routine. It starts to become natural. But I need you to know, even in this last 10 days, when you're so close to the finish line, this is when people start self-sabotaging. Like right before it starts to lock in, doubt starts sneaking in. Like you kind of get to the point where like, oh, maybe I can skip a day. Maybe, I don't really have time for this. Like doubt starts coming in. But when you're able to get to that 40 days, and once you've kind of gotten to that point and you've really locked in, the shifts are beautiful. The shifts are impactful because the body and the mind are together like, okay, we're ready to make this new pattern. And in some traditions, this is only the beginning. So for example, in Kundalini Yoga, 40 days is what it takes to break an old pattern. But then we also have 90 days and 1,000 days. So 90 days is about reinforcing a new pattern. And in 1,000 days, it's said that it locks in this pattern and it becomes a permanent part of you. And if you don't think 1,000 days can shift something, try it. And if you really want to think about 1,000 days, because I've thought about it, 1,000 days is like 2 years and 7 months. And why have I thought about it? Because I'm in the middle of doing 1,000 days of meditation. 1,000 days without missing a day of meditation. And within that 1,000 days, because I'm almost at the end, I'm like 10 days away from finishing it, there's these same phases that I've talked about. Like there's the 3 different phases, and I think they show up in different times and they repeat themselves. It was new and exciting in the beginning, but it was also hard because it was just like I was so far away from 2 years and 7 months of doing this. I'm like, why am I doing this? I had that self-sabotaging phase of not even boredom, but like, why? I had to really connect to my why in the beginning because I'm like, it was so far away. I'm like, this seems pointless. There's no way I'm going to do this. I'm going to stop doing it. I'm going to miss a day in between. So why? Well, I should give up now. And it was hard in the beginning. And then I got to a phase where it started feeling consistent. And maybe it was a year or 2 in that I was like, this feels boring. I'm tired. I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of having to always meditate and not miss a day, or I feel like I just don't want to do this. And then there was times when I got closer to the end, it was just like, okay, we're so close, but it was just like, I am so done. But yet, as I am 10 days out, hindsight is beautiful. You question is it worth doing something for 40 days to make a shift in your life? I can tell you from doing something for 1,000 days, which was focusing in on removing fear from my life and really connecting to that indestructible power that lies within each and every one of us, I can say 10 days out from 1,000 days, yes, I see the difference. I am not the same person I was almost 1,000 days ago when I started this. So if you're asking, can 40 days be powerful? Yes. History has proven it. All these different religions are not randomly picking 40 days for a reason. When we talk about doing a blackout for Amazon for 40 days, I'm gonna bet Amazon's going to feel that. Target felt that when we did it for a week. So I got to believe 40 days, it's going to make a difference. But I'm curious, and I really want to know. Now that you know the magic behind 40 days, remember that is associated with real transformation, are you willing to commit to 40 days? 40 days is a little bit over a month. Is what you desire or what you say you desire, is that worth this level of commitment? That's the real question you need to ask yourself. Because real change doesn't ask if you want it. Real change asks, are you willing to show up for it? Even when it's uncomfortable, even when it gets boring, even when it doesn't feel like it's working yet. So now that you know that 40 days is that magical number, is what you desire worth 40 days? That's all I got for you this week. I'll see you next week. Ciao. Thanks for joining us this week on the Hello Well with Danielle show. Make sure to visit our website, hellowellwithdanielle.com, where you can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon Music and never miss an episode. Also, you can follow us on social media at Hello Well with Danielle on Facebook and Instagram, and Hello Well Danny on Twitter. And if you like hella love the show and got some good nuggets out of it, know that I'm not too proud to ask for you to please leave a rating or review on iTunes so that we can continue to expand our reach and help other women of color. Again, thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you next week. Ciao.